the Andes Mountains, Peru. Here, 12 miles north of Pumapunku, lie the murky waters of Lake Titicaca, the largest lake in South America. According to local legends, the god Viracocha rose up from the depths of this lake to create the sun, the stars, and mankind.
Legend states that Viracocha, the great creator god of the Inca and the prehistoric civilization of that area, emerged from Lake Titicaca. He went to Tiwanaku and brought civilization to that part of the world. He then went to Pumapunku, and this is where he said he made men and women from stone and took them to the four corners of the earth to spread their seed.
The Spanish conqueror asked the Inca, the people living there, including the king of the Inca, what is this Pumapunku? And they all said, it's not us, it's not our forefather who make this. This were made by the gods in one single night. Usually a king is proud about what his people did, about the precision and so on. In that case, the chief and the people said, no, it was not us. It was the gods who made it.
One of the legends of Pumapunku states that it was built by a race of giants in one night after a great cataclysm and flood had destroyed the whole area. But what's really interesting is that who were these giants? Where did they come from? Was it Viracocha and his band of followers? Or was it some other beings from some other place?
One of the earliest chronicles that we have in regards to Pumapunku talks about that these giant platforms were moved through the air by the sound of a trumpet. They basically floated into place. So do we have some type of sound technology here? And the answer is a potential yes.
Might the legends of giants and stones floating through the air have been inspired by some sort of mysterious events in the distant past? Or were they the result of alien beings visiting Earth in prehistoric times, as ancient astronaut theorists believe?
Now I come with a speculation. Extraterrestrials arrive, the spaceship stands in orbit. Only a smaller space vehicle comes down like a space shuttle. So, just to protect their instruments, they make overnight, with their technology, what we call a base camp. Of course made out of stones found on Earth, because you don't transport granite or diorite from another solar system. And then they disappear. But the wall of their base camp is still there. Now the natives come. They see these ruins. They touch it with their fingers. They say, look at this, it's so smooth, it's so sharp. The gods did it. The place becomes a holy place. And now the natives start to construct temples, altars in honor of the gods. So you have two technologies. One was an extraterrestrial technology, and the other was the humans with their altars and their temples.
In the center of the temples at Tiwanaku lie the ruins of a stone arch called the Gateway of the Sun. Cut and shaped from a single andesite stone, weighing more than 10 tons, archaeologists believe the 10-foot-tall, 13-foot-wide megalith was once the gateway leading to Pumapunku.
The Gateway of the Sun is probably the entrance, or one of the entrances, to the Pumapunku temple. And as such, it's very important because this is how the people of Tiwanaku conducted their ritual, by funneling people through increasingly smaller gateways and stairways to more and more sacred precincts.
On the upper portion of the arch, intricate carvings can be found of nearly 50 winged beings on either side of what is believed to be the great creator god Viracocha. Interpretations of the engravings suggest they refer to a calendar describing a time as far back as 27,000 BC.
So here we are at the famous Gate of the Sun with Viracocha right in the middle, holding two scepters, surrounding by birdmen.
That's a common depiction in ancient societies, is a man who's able to fly. That would have probably been an interpretation by the native people of someone coming from the sky or from the heavens.
It's part of our idea, too, that some giant airship that was a factory with power tools and power saws and routers and drills just landed here and began processing these giant blocks of stone and then ultimately created Puma Punku.
It seems like the whole complex was some kind of technological kind of factory. And if my research is correct, it looks like they were using it to create energy of some sort. So what some people suggest is that they were using electricity and power tools, which sounds incredible when we think about it because they're a modern invention. But actually, if you look at the quality of the stonework, you have to admit something like that was going on there.
When you look at the complexity of Puma Punku, the huge platforms, the interlocking blocks that was made into what they thought were indestructible walls, what you could have is the kind of perfectly made granite spaceport that extraterrestrials would want.
Might Puma Punku be the remains of an intergalactic outpost built by otherworldly beings tens of thousands of years ago, as ancient astronaut theorists contend? Perhaps the answer can be found using modern technology to examine the purpose for which the site was built in the first place. January 2011. Researchers survey and measure the monolithic stones and H-blocks scattered around the archaeological site of Puma Punku, hoping to solve the mystery of what these structures were used for and why.
The evidence that something extraordinary happened at Puma Punku is in front of our very eyes, because at Puma Punku we find evidence of stone cuts that we today could only replicate if we use the most sophisticated of technologies.
That is part of the great mystery of Puma Punku. It seems as though some kind of factory was set up there to make these almost exactly the same. It's almost like a Lego system of interconnecting blocks, and that is unique on this Earth.
Many of the blocks were prefabricated blocks. Prefabricated blocks means planning. You have to make a design. Planning means writing. Now the archaeologists say that Puma Punku are the ruins of temples made by the Aymara. Aymara are the highland Indians up there. But the Aymara were Stone Age people. They had not even writing. So not planning. It's absolutely impossible. Prefabricated blocks in Stonehenge doesn't fit with Stonehenge, and the precision of the blocks is absolutely baffling.
In Danville, Illinois, toolmaker Chris Dunn uses measurements taken at Puma Punku to create a 1/8 scale model of an H-block to better understand how they may have originally fit together.
So you actually went to Puma Punku to measure the H-blocks. What was your conclusion? What did you find?
For me, it was important to find out what the measurements were. What I found was that the internal cavities were not parallel to each other.
And by internal cavities, you're referring to these two parts right here, right?
Exactly. These two surfaces right here, both top and bottom, They are small